Hey everyone, this is Dr. Michael Neely, and welcome to Dr. Neely's Bodywork Minute. Today we're going to talk about the really important concept of compassion. This may seem very simplistic, very straightforward. This may seem like something that, do we really need to have a discussion about compassion when we're talking about healthcare? But one of the key things is that we really do need to have a discussion about compassion. Most visits, most days, whether you're talking about working with a client or working with a patient, it's not going to be that hard, right? We all, in the healthcare field, most of us have a natural capacity for being empathetic. We have a natural capacity for being compassionate in the situation, and that can be pretty straightforward most of the time. But everyone, every single one of us, at some point within our career, many times, oftentimes, especially if you've been in the field for any length of time, you're going to be challenged. You're going to be challenged with your capacity to access that compassion. And so how do you reach down and be compassionate and be present for every patient or client interaction so that you can provide the best care possible? So how do you do that? The way that you do that, there are two concepts that you can utilize to help you be there and be present and be compassionate are, first off, try to see where people are coming from. Walk in their shoes. Try to feel what they're dealing with. And the second concept is called imperturbability. So imperturbability is the idea of letting things go by you, not letting them sink in, not letting them attach to you and interrupt your capacity to provide that quality care. So let's look at walking in their shoes first. For some people, this may be more easy than others. If you've dealt with your own personal trauma, whether it's physical or emotional or both, or maybe you've had a lot of loss in your life, and so people come in and they're hurting, and so you can directly, intuitively feel and know what they're dealing with, whether it's emotional, physical, or whatever. For other people, it may be a little bit more difficult, and that's okay. You can still get there. The key is that you sit back and you try to feel what it is that's going on with them. What is it that's making them abrasive in this situation? Are they having a hard time because they lost a parent? Are they having a hard time because they're in so much pain? Are they having a hard time because their dog died, or anything, whatever it may be? Or maybe it's an economic situation, an economic crisis that they're dealing with, or maybe it's a political situation or a social situation, whatever it may be. Can you sit back and separate yourself from yourself to feel where it is they're coming from? Whether you agree with them or not, can you be there and understand where it is they're coming from? And if you can understand where they're coming from, that's the first place to start. If you can just kind of feel where they're at. And the next part is imperturbability. So how do you deal with someone who is challenging something that you hold dear? Or you feel affronted, you're feeling attacked, you're feeling defensive because they're being difficult to deal with. Do you let that sink in? Do you let those things latch onto you and be a statement about you? And I would suggest that the practice of developing imperturbability allows you to not let that sink in. Let that sit back, so you can sit back and watch and observe the situation and try to figure out what it is that's driving this person, so that you can still do your job and be compassionate and care for that person. So the practice of imperturbability is much more difficult than just talking about it. It's something that you have to cultivate. It's a little bit easier to walk in someone's shoes, figuratively speaking. It's a little bit easier to walk in their shoes, to feel and see where they're coming from. Imperturbability is one of those things that's a daily practice that you have to develop and continue to develop for the rest of your life. It's one of those things where you need to be able to find your center, to find what you're about, so you're not affronted by these things that people are throwing at you, whatever it is. And this could, I'm just talking about in healthcare, but this is in day-to-day life as well. So you need to find the things that help you feel centered. You need to find a practice. This could be exercise, this could be meditation, this could be prayer, whatever it is for you that's important. For me, one of my most important personal practices for me is being out in the woods. I love being out in the woods. It helps me clear my mind. Whatever is going on in my life, if I can even take 10 minutes, find any little patch of woods and go for a walk. It doesn't matter if it's raining, it doesn't matter if it's sunny. I always feel better when I leave the woods. And so for you, you need to find out what it is that helps you feel centered, that helps you develop that practice of that trait of imperturbability, so that you can walk into every patient or every client interaction that you have with somebody and be there for them. So you can be fully compassionate and try to understand and feel where they're coming from. Is that going to happen every time? No, it's just not realistic that you're always going to be able to pull that off. But it is a goal to work towards, and it will make you a better practitioner. It will make you happier in your practice. It will make you happier in your life, because these things are not just isolated to our practices per se, but they bleed over into our lives. And so then the things that we develop in our practices, and I think maybe this is a really super important, strong point to think about. You know, we're dealing with people one-on-one every day. And when we're dealing with people one-on-one every day, that can't help but affect our interactions with the people that we love, the people that we care for, our friends. And so if you can feel where your client or patient is coming from, and you can be imperturbable in the face of difficult situations, that's going to have a positive effect and positive ramifications throughout the rest of your life and with the other people that you deal with. So take that, think about it for a while, work on it, and I'll see you in the next time around. All right, bye-bye.